Hello and welcome to this webinar, Your Problems Are Solutions, brought to you by KidzByte, India's first educational and news platform for kids. I am Salonie Powar, Head of Content for KidzByte and your moderator for this webinar. So I would like to start with an introduction of all our panelists present here. First, we have Dr. Kavita Aggarwal, Chairperson of Members of International Schools Associations. You can say hello now.
Hi everybody.
Hello.
Hi everybody.
She has 38 years of experience in the educational system and curriculum in international boards, along with teacher training and mentoring. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Neeta Mhatre, who works in child counseling and development, who provides a holistic blend of creativity and theory. She is an expert in behavioral changes, stress management, and more. We're so happy to have you on the panel.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Dr. Jigna Kanavia, dental practitioner and a mother of 10-year-old Shona Kanavia, who is also KidzByte user and a junior journalist on our platform. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So let's dive right in. As KidzByte is a platform that works very closely with children, parents, and educators, we've received quite a lot of inputs about certain challenges that parents face in regarding with their kids in the following three areas that we are going to discuss. So first is children's deteriorating reading habits. Second is unhealthy screen time. And third is decrease in children's knowledge quotient. As our webinar states, not only are we going to drive at these problems to open up perspectives, opinions, and examples, we also hope that we can come up with effective solutions and directions to work in each challenging area. So we'll target the first section, which is reading habits. So each panelist will be given a question and they will share their inputs with us. Our first question goes to Dr. Aggarwal. From an educational standpoint, why is cultivating a reading habit good or even necessary?
Thank you, Salonie. It's a very important question, and I must say that I will start from some kind of a negative mode that my children do not like to read. And it's a great problem with the parents and the teachers as well. As academics is concerned, I think it's all about reading. Unless you don't read, you will not comprehend anything. You will not respond to that. So reading is very important, and reading gives lot of. It reduces the mental. It de-stresses the child basically. It increases lot of mental stimulation. Increases lot of knowledge, vocabulary, writing skills. So with the digital platform, what we are seeing now with the digital world, children would like to have instant answers. So they don't want to read and they want to have immediate answers. Just Google here and there, just see some videos, just see some YouTube and find the answer. So it's a very easy way out. But when all these shortcuts are applied, so it directly affects their academics. So when they are not good readers, they are not able to comprehend what is being asked and they deviate from the question. And once the question is misunderstood, the replies are also not proper. So that's why it's very important for a child to develop reading habits. Now, how question? So very simple way. When the children are small, give them big picture, very small font, very big font, sorry, not small, big font. As the child starts growing, reduce the size of the picture and decrease the size of the font. So, and force them to read at least 10 books of their choice, read along with them, give them a dedicated reading time, and you will see the miracle within 1 month that the child becomes a good reader. So this is my suggestion, and this is what we are facing as a teachers, that students are poor reader, so we face lot of difficulties in coping up with the academics.
Thank you so much for your answer. So next we move on to Dr. Kanavia. As a parent, as representing all the parents who use KidzByte or whose kids use KidzByte, how would you encourage your child to read? And are there any ways that you found working that increases their interest in reading level or such?
Initially, when I had to struggle with it, my boy was not interested in reading initially. But then I thought, I have to find out ways to encourage him in reading, to build up his interest. So I gave him a choice of picking up the books that he likes. If I impose some books onto him, I think he would discontinue it in between. So I gave him a choice. I used to go with him to the stores. We used to select loads of books. And I think that really helped a lot in building up his interest level. I also encouraged him to exchange books with his friends. So, you have something common to talk about. You talk about books, you exchange books, you talk about characters. So I think that also helped a lot in our case. And also, I think it is essential. A kid always learns from their parents. So if he sees me sitting with a book, I think he is encouraged more to sit with the book and read. So whenever possible, I take out time, sit with him. So he doesn't feel, reading is just an activity forced only onto him. So when mama is involved, when papa is involved into that, so he's happy with that. That has really helped us a lot.
Oh, that's brilliant to hear. And lastly, we'll move on to Dr. Mhatre. So kids don't like to read. That's a given nowadays.
Yeah.
What is your take on this as coming from a psychologist point of view?
So coming from the psychological point of view, I still understand that reading is your best friend, and your books are always going to be yours wherever you are. The smell of the book, the touch of the book, the feel of the book. Of course, understanding the present scenario and the generation, what we are seeing into. So basically, the onus is called as collaborative learning or collaborative teaching. So it is the teachers as well as the parents who can make this entire thing very, very interesting. Teachers are doing their best, as well as I understand even the parents, but the challenge is like the kids are not ready. So how to make the kids ready, as Kavita ma'am did discuss, Dr. Jigna did discuss, of course, it is an engagement process where the two have to come in the sync with reading. And I still remember my first teacher telling me that, look at the apple. When you make the child read, when you make the child visualize, go through it, it's so easy to comprehend, to imagine, So all these things enhances in the child, thereby giving not only the content, in fact, increasing the enthusiasm also. So I think as a psychologist or being a parent, being an educator, I still think that the entire onus of sitting with the child is important. Practicing ourselves, what we are actually preaching is important. And if we ourselves are present with them doing that activity and sharing what do we read, makes a lot of difference. And after that, we have something called as buddy system, where we discuss in books, where we discuss in the leaders, what we have read about them. How is one can be a mentor, or how is one character making some difference in my life? So talking about those things really makes a child, hook on to those books, and then giving a small little star,
Mm-hmm.
make something creative at home, and okay, fine, today let me see how much did you read and how much did I read. It's okay to compete with our child. It's okay, to keep that healthy atmosphere going on completely in the house. It's okay to do that. And giving the child a star or giving the child a compliment, an acknowledgement. will allow the child to grow, will allow the child to think. And I think this best friend should always be there with the child to allow the child to grow. And all the readers are good leaders. So this is what we need to constantly, create and recreate and go on telling to the child. This will make a lot of difference.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, because nowadays a child, in earlier, there were very traditional forms of media available. So perhaps reading was more fostered, or the environment for reading, there was a better environment for reading. But nowadays we have like so many social media sites, we have so many streaming sites. So how can we, when we are putting reading against that, how do we, inculcate both of the actions, both of the online and the reading together? What is your opinion on that?
So I would not really go with the word against.
Mm-hmm.
See, if anything, if we say against, we are more interested in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
How about making the child aware? How about we being parent, being aware? And how about talking age appropriate to the child? So if we use the word age appropriate, if we make that awareness in the child, this is important right now for your mental growth. This is important for your physical growth. It makes a lot of impact with the child. And then thereby discussing the pros and cons. And whenever the child is there with any of the digital media or any of the social media, it is really necessary that we are also present with the child. Of course, we cannot do a spike thing, or we cannot always see disbelief. We should have that confidence in our child that our child is really going to do the best and is going to listen to us. But getting into the pros and cons awareness and making the child responsible by our response, not by our reaction. So our response to situations, our response to comprehending what we want to comprehend in a proper communication way is I think is important.
All right. And this creates a good segue into our next segment, which is unhealthy screen time. Our first question goes to Dr. Kanavia. What are the challenges you face as a parent when it comes to unhealthy screen time?
It's a big challenge. Unhealthy screen time is really tough to deal with. Earlier, when the school was on, when there were the extracurricular activities on, I think this was only a weekend hassle to deal with. But right now, presently in this lockdown period, where there is so much of free time available, not much studies, no classes going on, I really find it as a challenge to deal. The screen time has really, really shot up. So it's a challenge for me. If I can get some answers on that to help me out.
All right. So since our next question is how do we take the out of unhealthy, I think we might be able to find a few directions we can work through. This question is for Dr. Mhatre. What are some of the tips you would suggest to, bring a more healthier screen time to what the child is using?
Okay. So here I would like to open a question to every one of us. How about just going into our kitchen and telling us ourselves also, how many glasses are glass, how many glasses are steel glass, and how many glasses are the decorative ones? Probably even we do not know the answers because we have never checked back our kitchen, right? But these all habits will allow the child to do something called as thinking. When we talk about the when we talk about the skill set, when we talk about the 21 skill set, the main thing goes with the critical thinking and the lateral thinking. So I think, even making Maggie, when you break that Maggie is two pieces. So how do you make it equal? Why don't you break it equal? You can use all these things as a creativity involving in the household chores, as well as building up something called as learning in the child.
Mm-hmm.
Even a small little biscuit can make a lot of difference. Sitting with the board games, and there are so many board games which are available right now, and we can play with them, we can indulge with them, or else making them more responsible, talking about not only the board games, how did it come into the existence, talking about all the things which is going to involve in the board games, why two of them is involved or why four is involved, and how will that four make an impact, and how will that two make an impact. And it's not the question of why. Allow the child to think in how. When we allow the child to think in how, the entire platform increases. It gives a big space to the child to understand how, because how is a very big number. But when you give a why, and why is answered by the parent or by anyone, the child knows that I'm going to get this answer. So why not make the child himself or herself get into the how domain and allow that to be out from that healthy, and make a healthy atmosphere in the house with interesting chores, and with through our household chores only, putting up an habit of learning, demonstrating, getting into something creativity as learning, making the subjects very creative. And it is going to be so good when the child goes out and discusses the curriculum, maybe with the friends, maybe with the teachers, maybe with any of them, So I think as parent or as educators, we can definitely think about all those things.
Yeah. But also when we look at screen time, it's not like we can deny them and tell them no screen time at all. So what can we do that when they do access the screen time, it is something that is for their benefit instead of, something that might go to waste. So how do we make the screen time that they have access to more healthy in that sense, and what content they consume and things like that?
This question to me?
To any of the panelists would like to answer.
I think there are a lot of healthy apps also on online nowadays available. I think one of them is KidzByte, which is providing a very good content for kids to, widen their knowledge. It has a good platform for reading. It really improves their GK knowledge about science. So I don't mind my child spending online, provided he's reading some healthy stuff. I think that way we can make the unhealthy part a bit healthy.
Yeah, so we give them access to kid-friendly.
Yeah.
Yes, that is specially curated for them.
And I think, of course, the healthy content is really available. We also have to have knowledge about what healthy and when healthy and how. So main thing is for us being parent and being continuously right now being with our family, with our children, we need to have some timetable. Of course, the work-life balance now is really gone haywire. I understand that, but certainly everything has a schedule, a time, and that time limit, if it has been given to the child, so that will be more healthy.
Yeah.
And of course, healthy reading habits, playing habits, and how far can you use your fine motor, and do not hurt your elbows or your shoulders. So that is where the entire concern comes. So it should be easy. It should not be something which is affecting your health.
Even I would like to contribute in that. As an educationist, I would like to suggest all the parents that it is very important at this point of time, which is very crucial and time of crisis for every one of us. Spend quality time with the children. So spending quality time with your kids doesn't mean that all the time you have to be after them. No, set the timetable for them, inculcate some sense of discipline, habits of discipline amongst the children. What time they get up, what time they sleep. And from the school perspective, we are giving the limited online material. We are not giving the material which is going to engage them for the whole day. So if the online material is just going for an hour or two, after that what child is doing, then he should not indulge in any kind of screen time. Like I have seen some of the children, when we are giving class 10 lessons on virtual lessons, so they are with us on Zoom or Google Meet, Teams, Meet. So their other window is open on Netflix. So when we say, are you with us? This is, yeah, yes, Miss Will. But on other window, they are not with us. So this is what the parents have to monitor. Also, to divert their attention, give them a lot of responsibilities. For example, you may give them household responsibilities. What to be cooked today, how it is going to be cooked, can you find some good recipe, okay, come on, lay your cupboard, some kind of life skill habits, some kind of kitchen work, some kind of cleaning work. Engage them, because children have got lots and lots of pent up energy, and how to release that energy, that parents have to involve them in kind of exercise, so the entire family can have some kind of a Zumba session available online. Also, parents them lot of responsibility of budgeting of the house, because this is a time when you teach these small things, life skills to the children, that I have only this much of money, how am I going to manage the house, can you just budget for the month, or I have not received my salary, how do I use my saving, what are my savings, discuss everything with them and be a friend to the child, and you see that how screen time gets reduced. So
Yeah.
they are engaged in some or the other activities, so their mind will not be diverted to all this. And secondly, cyber security, you need to monitor that what they are watching, how they are watching, with whom they are talking, what sort of a talks are going on, because especially amongst the teenager, this is the time when they can indulge into a lot of wrong things. So we have to monitor their screen and see that they have the complete knowledge of cyber security. So lots of ways and means out, but this is all on the family values, that how you are going to bring up your child and how you're going to talk to him and make him understand that what is right and what is wrong.
So we have one more question for Dr. Aggarwal on this section. So let us take into consideration that many educational institutes are going digital. What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of this?
See, at this point of time, I say we have no other option, because there is no physical presence of the children. At the same time, we have to continue with our syllabus, our academics. So, but we have no option but to go digital. Now, digital platform is like one virtual, one is recorded. So schools are finding it many ways and trying out many permutations and combinations. I think this blended learning, some part of virtual, some part of
The audio has stopped.
I think there's a connection problem. Let's just wait for a few seconds. Yes, we have regained connection.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you can continue.
So the culture is going to change. Now, every institution, all of us, we have to think about blended learning. We have to do half the work virtually, half the work in physical presence of the students. So, but right now we have no other option but to go digitally, which is maybe acceptable, not acceptable, but we have no other alternative. And we can give a lot of ways and means out to get over this problem, that just I said, that engage your children in many other activities rather than just keeping him in front of the screen.
All right. So with this, we head to our last segment, which is on knowledge quotient. So we'll go back to Dr. Kanavia. So outside of the school curriculum, what kinds of knowledge should parents encourage their children to cultivate?
I think there are a lot of things to deal with. You have to look at the overall development of your child. You need them. You should expose them to a lot of things, like learning a new life skill, be it swimming or any other form. Learning a sport. A sport is very much essential for your physical development, for learning interpersonal skills, for learning leadership qualities. All this is very important. So learning some kind of sport is also essential. learning some form of art is essential. Art helps you in de-stressing, keeps you happy. So I think you need to look at the overall development of your child, just not the academic thing. And I think I'm very fortunate for my child. His school is providing all this aspect, so all this is taken care of for him.
All right. Next
But
up.
we also should take care that the kids are not overburdened with everything. There should be a
that's
balance
true.
in everything.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so next up, Dr. Aggarwal, we come back to you. So children are curious by nature, but yet when we say the word study, their enthusiasm wavers a little bit. How can edutainment, which is a term for like education and entertainment mixed up, help with increasing knowledge quotient? Doctor, you're on mute. MISA.
I think gamification,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of apps which are available gives them knowledge as well as a lot of happiness and a pleasure and curiosity also. Gives them a lot of chance to in problem solving skills, critical thinking and analyzing the problem. So even on digital platform now we can see lot of things available which are going to give stimulation. So I feel it can become more interesting and challenging for the children.
All right. And lastly, Dr. Mhatre, how does an increased engagement in knowledge-based activities and exercises help with a healthy mind?
So for me, I would really take it up from Kavita ma'am, as she had used the word responsibility. So picking up from that word responsibility, it adds on to a lot of empathy. Right now, the child is really understanding what empathy is. Seeing the scenario outside, they themselves are learning coding. They are understanding how this coding can be used for few patients of diabetes or even for COVID trackers. So this coding is really allowing them to think. And as ma'am had mentioned, critical thinking, lateral thinking, problem solving. I think the teenagers are really responsible and they are becoming more responsible in understanding all these areas of life now. And when we practically, as parents or as educators, when we sit and genuinely discuss with them, this is what is happening. And, they are able to relate. And I somehow see that there is a lot of skill development in leadership. So they are no more followers, rather they are becoming leaders. So empathy by default, because of this entire COVID, has become into them. And they are really able to relate to situations. They are able to empathize. They are able to relate to all the senior citizens, their protection, as well as even taking self-care. So this has actually increased in the generation which I'm seeing right now. So knowledge-based is, of course, is going to be there, where they'll be emotionally be attached, emotionally they'll be able to take decisions and even accelerate with their lateral thinking. So of course, knowledge-based is going to make a lot of impact.
Yeah. So we come to the end of the question segment that we from the KidzByte platform had. But we also have our live audience who are sending in questions, and we received quite a few, among which we also have the audience thanking our panel members for their wonderful inputs. So we'll tackle a few questions before we end this webinar. So one of the questions that we've received is, in regards to all the three challenging areas, be it unhealthy screen time, encouraging reading, and increasing knowledge, does a reward mechanism help to motivate children better, or is there another way we can motivate them? Anyone would like to take up the answer?
I think I can answer that. So to encourage my child into reading more, I used to reward him with one more of his favorite book, So he used to look forward to that thing, Mama is going to buy this next book. So he used to have a full list of books that he wants. And then as a reward, I would gift him a book only.
Oh, that's amazing. So our next question is for Dr. Aggarwal. Seeing that this the COVID situation might be here for a longer period of time, what does the future of education look like?
I think that the education system is completely going to change. There is going to be a paradigm shift. Parents are going to believe more on homeschooling, digital learning. The physical contact is to be less, and a lot of independent learning will be enforced in the children. So I think this is a very good trial period for the kids to have independent learning, self-learning, and more on their own choices, their own developing their own interest or own hobby, selecting their own career, setting their own goal. That will be transformed, which was totally earlier, which was totally dependent on the parents. So now the children are going to take the onus, and the scenario is going to change definitely.
We have a follow-up question based on that front, Dr. Aggarwal. So when you bring this point to state boards, it is possible that this modern way of learning might not, ease in well with the state boards where there are plenty of students and not enough resources. So what are your comments on that?
State board also gradually has to go with the flow, and they also have to devise a lot of ways and means to reach out to the children. So the role of a teacher is going to change. She will become merely a facilitator. The role of a principal is going to change. So she is not a leader per se, but she is a kind of a support to the entire education community and the parents community. Role of a management is going to change. Now we talk about great infrastructure, this 5-star facilities, 7-star facilities. That will not have any meaning. It will be more like how much are you going to reach out to the child and how much he is giving you back. That will be the same.
All right.
And
I would like to
traditional way of teaching is going to go away, which is where the rote memorization and written examination. I think that will transform.
I think, Dr. Aggarwal, this might even lead to, like, when you see this natural consequences which has just happened, it might somewhere down the line empower the child to be more competitive.
Yes.
Because the child will now think in how, and secondly, there'll be a lot of skill development simultaneously happening to the child. And as parents and as certain torchbearers, will understand ki what is most important to the child rather than giving the combination ya tum science hi le lena ya tum engineer hi ban jana. And it will be more child oriented, what the child actually wants to be.
So it will be more child dependent rather than parent dependent.
Yes. So we will have more of Tare Zameen Pe.
Tare Zameen Pe.
Yes. And it's going to be literally, it's going to be a liberation, it's going to be an empowerment which is going to be seen. A drastic historical change is going to come in the education system with this.
Are going to innovate their own line of work, own line of profession. There will be so many new inventions in terms of employment also, because they are going to have a design thinking, they are going to have the career thinking. They will design their own career. So professionally, they are going to become more enlightened, and they will design their own profession, and they will only find the way out that how to become more powerful in skills in terms of knowledge will take the backseat.
So our next question here is about, are there any specific parameters to evaluate a child's GK quotient, or is it all very subjective?
To me?
To anyone who would like to answer.
I think with this digital platform, taking subjective assessment, it becomes more challenging. So we are going to test the knowledge of the child by formative assessments. And because what is the meaning of assessment? It is not the test of memory. it's not that what child has learned, it's what teacher has taught, and whether the child has understood or not. So that can be tested in any form. Not necessarily the child has to write down 16 to 20 lines. He may write one word also. So that kind of a shift is going to take place.
And simultaneously, that assessment will give the growth of the child in personal as well as in the professional domain. Because
Yes.
the child is going to actually implement what has been registered by his mind or by her mind. And how do you use it appropriately? So that is how the assessment tools are going to work.
Now, I would like to say, when the parents are so much worried about the child should know the spellings, child should know the grammar structure, child should know two sentences. Now it's going to have online. How you can assure that the child doesn't know the spelling? Everything is going to be auto-corrected.
Yeah.
Sticking on the traditional method, you have to change, widen your horizon, that how the child is able to apply his knowledge. That is more important rather than old traditional method, that whether he knows the spelling of elephant or not.
Yeah.
I think with the kids, I think parents are also going to learn a lot how to deal with this digital media now.
Yes.
And probably it could be that these youngies would teach the parents a new form of digital arena, you know, and it's going to happen that we are going to learn together. And when you learn together, it's going to be a perfectionism, so
That's what
called.
I constantly keep on telling my child, you know, when I sit with you, there is a lot of things that I learn from him.
Absolutely.
See, I always tell my parents that you are always worried about syllabus. That teacher syllabus complete nahi hota. I said, define syllabus. What is syllabus? Now, what is the aim of education? That I should know the color red. So, by any means, I should know the color of red. Why the syllabus has to come into the picture? So it's like a aim should get completed. The aim should be achieved, not the process. Now, right now, we are more concerned about the process, but the shift will take place when we are concerned about the achieving of our aim, not the process. So that parents have to understand now the syllabus, what eventually child had to learn, and has he learned, that is important by any way.
Shall we move to the next question?
Yeah.
So when we are talking about a reward system, we've got an input saying that ever since our child was young, we've been inculcating reading habits by reinforcers and rewards. However, now that he's 8 years old, he doesn't read without a reward. So how do we take back from that?
So here I would just like to add something. When the child was growing up, did the child ask you to give him or her the reward? No. The child didn't ask you. It was we as parent thought that if I give this, then my child will read. So combination of if and but was my brain, not the child's brain. So when I have inculcated rewards, and now when the child is grown up, it is okay to have a conversation in a standard 8 the child is. It is okay to have a conversation with the child and tell, you know, this reading is not only for you, it is for your own development. It is for you because you are going to see the universe. You're going to lead a lot of people. It is for your growth as well as the growth of the surrounding. So it is necessary. And I think if you will engage in healthy conversation with the child will not ask for reward. Rather, he will reward the parents for being such wise parents. And it is never the child who is asking ki, please, agar A plus B karoge, to hi equal to C hoga. This is we as parents do. अरे खाना खा लो नहीं तो ना तुमको ना डॉक्टर के पास लेके जाएंगे डॉक्टर सुई दे देगा fear we instill this If you will do good, if you will be happy, if you will not do susu, I will take you there. So this is what we as parents do. The child has never asked us to do this. So where are we going wrong? So corrective action should be with us, not with the child.
So we've got another question on unhealthy screen time. It says, what are the bad effects of unhealthy screen time? Is there any health effects that unhealthy screen time has?
So unhealthy screen times first starts with intermittent headache, lot of irritation in your behavior. You have seen irritation in the child's behavior. Suddenly they'll ask for food. Suddenly there is no taste in food. I don't feel like eating. My stomach is bloated. My stomach is full. It creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of panic. Then you have generalized fatigue, generalized body ache. Main thing is your eyes goes for a toss. Myopia. You develop the early rheumatoid arthritis. RA is developing very, very early in the children's now. We are seeing this. You have your shoulder pain because the way you sit like a couch potato. There is no alignment with your sitting. The sitting position is not proper. So all those things generally hampers your entire physical growth. It hampers your mental growth. And nowadays, what we are seeing, like there are a lot of children who are approaching to me online, but I'm not being able to sleep. भाई तुम कैसे सोओगे? रात के 1 बजे तक तो PUBG चल रहा है, Netflix चल रहा है. There is a lot of competition happening कि तुमने कितनी सीरीज देखी, मैंने कितनी सीरीज देखी. So how will we sleep? So it is very, very necessary कि by 9 max, please put off all your screens and put all your entire computers, laptops, your mobile screens, everything outside your bedroom and just be with yourself. Just listen to something small music or relax, read, appreciate yourself, have a gratitude journal, do your own journaling. In fact, you can have a family journal altogether where you can sit and do something. And this way you can help yourself from this unhealthy screen time.
So we'll have two last questions. This one I think we can direct to Dr. Kanavia. So my 7-year-old daughter spends considerable amount of time on the phone, along for digital learning and games. Although I have installed a software to protect against adult content, we know that nothing is foolproof. So of what content is being accessed. So any suggestions on this front as a parent?
As of now, the ways I am trying out is, I engage him in the conversation to know what's happening, what videos is he watching and all. So I constantly keep on talking to him. Like if he talks about a particular YouTuber, so I get in a conversation, what does that YouTuber do? What videos is he showing? So I try to have a conversation and know. On off, I sit with him to, watch the videos just to get a hang of, what videos is he following, or which YouTuber is he following, what videos is he watching. That is the only thing I'm presently using right now.
All right. Okay, and this is the last question that we have received. We'll direct it to Dr. Aggarwal. So this is by a fellow professor. They've asked that since we have platforms like Netflix and YouTube, and the shift has changed to watching a lot of videos. So how do we encourage kids to get back to reading, be it fiction or non-fiction? Because this is becoming a challenge for this teacher as well. So how do we tackle it?
It's very important to develop reading habits among the children, and there is a technique for it. You have to forcefully make them read at least 10 books, but the books of their own choice. Forcefully let them read 10 books, and you see that the child will ask for the 11th book. And this way, the reading habit is going to develop. Secondly, as I said, big picture, big font. Then keep on decreasing the size of the picture increase the increase. So this way, and more of colors should be included in the reading book. So this way, once the reading habit is developed, I don't think there is any problem. And if the child is a good reader, he will excel in academics. So that is my take.
What if
we tried for ourselves also? Like initially when my child was little hesitant about reading, we gave him a target, you need to complete 20 pages of reading today. The next day, then we used to motivate him, and now today you have to do 25 pages. So as his interest was building up, then we didn't have to really tell him, this fixed number of pages. Then he used to continue with, 50 to 100 pages also on his own.
Right.
Also, it is very important to give something to read of their own liking.
Choice, exactly.
And if you aid it with the audio visual, suppose you are giving a novel, and if you show them the movie of that, or a documentary or a movie, they will definitely like to read that book.
Yeah.
So aid it with the visual effects and.
All right, so that brings our session to an end. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our 3 panelists for your invaluable inputs throughout this webinar and for being here. And also we would like to thank all the viewers who participated as well as watched this webinar. If you have any other questions and we weren't able to answer it during this session, you can always send it to admin@kidzbyte.com, and we will we will answer it on our platform. And that's it. Lastly, I would also like to thank all the KidzByte team who helped to organize this webinar. Thank you for being here, and I hope you all have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.